All right, so we're here to review
We got a movie review.
a movie review.
When was the last time you and I reviewed a movie?
I don't know.
I don't even know the last time we reviewed a movie that we saw together, because this movie we didn't even see together. We saw it separately. The movie is A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place.
Which, funnily enough, is making a lot of noise this weekend because it's been getting really good reviews and made a ton of money on a very small budget. And Dan, what is this movie about? What's the guy going on?
So the story was actually originally by two other guys. I can't remember their name right off the top of my head, but John Krasinski ended up coming on to direct and ended up, finishing writing the film with them, directing and starring along with his wife Emily Blunt. The Quiet Place is actually kind of an original story, which I kind of liked. That's one of the things that I heard was like, oh, this is such a good film because it has an original story, which...
The concept is definitely pretty original. I don't really remember having seen a movie, especially like in a theater, like a newer movie, that was like this exactly. For example, just the first... I don't know when the first spoken words of dialogue happened. It's probably like 30 minutes in, maybe. It's pretty far in there, and just noise in general. But
it is a very quiet film, I will say.
Would you say that it takes place in a quiet place?
Yeah, exactly. Basically, from some, which is a good point. Let me just...
We're not going to spoil anything.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything. But basically, the gist is what you can kind of see in the trailers and what you can read online is, I guess, Earth in general has been kind of like taken over by something, and they're kind of attracted by the noise, and you kind of find that out very early on in the film. The cast of this film is exactly what you see in the trailer. There's no that's literally
there aren't any surprises.
There's no other,
as far as that goes.
Yeah, as far as we know.
And like you're saying, it starts like in media res because you don't know what's going on. You don't know what happened exactly. You just know that this family has to be really quiet, and some bad shit went down, and now there's no one. They're like fending for themselves, and there's no one else that they interact with outside of their family, and it's very it's isolated and it's small scale in that respect, but it makes you wonder like what's going on like in all parts of the world. Like it talks, I think, because there's a bunch of newspaper clippings in this movie, and you see like New York City and like other things mentioned. You're like, it makes you wonder like what's going on exactly, and how are they sustaining themselves and these different things like that. One
thing I am kind of curious about when this gets a home release is in John Krasinski's character. He has like a war room basically. They basically live on this farm, and they have multiple houses, it looks like, that they kind of use. And in one of the houses in the basement, he has basically a war room for like situating how everything should be.
Yeah, fighting these monsters.
In this research that he does. And he has like a lot of news clippings and stuff. It's impossible to see when you're watching it in a theater, but when it comes out for home release, maybe somebody can stop it and like zoom in and see if it gives more detail. Cause
that would be interesting.
Yeah, because really they don't give you any details of like what exactly happened. What are these creatures? Are they aliens? Are they...
Right. And it kind of, in that respect, it's also, this is a movie from Paramount, and it's similar to a Cloverfield movie.
Fucking shit. When I was watching the movie, I'm so glad you brought that up. I was like, this could have been a fucking Cloverfield movie.
And actually, the interview came out recently from the two original writers before John Krasinski came on. And they said that they were really close to making this into a Cloverfield movie, actually, at one point. And the Cloverfield tag is so, especially after Paradox, is so whatever at this point.
Yeah, and it would have been a shit show if they did that.
And it doesn't really matter. Bottom line is, what did you think of the story and the characters and exactly the film in general?
I can rant all day about Cloverfield stuff because it honestly is one of my favorite movies like of all time, the original one. And if it had been like Cloverfield and then forget about the other two movies they released, if this was like the second Cloverfield universe, I would have loved if this was like in that universe.
10 Cloverfield Lane was really good though.
It was
kind of similar to this in a way, isolated. Almost like post-apocalyptic trying to survive.
But okay. Yeah. So with this film specifically, I did feel the whole concept of the movie, A Quiet Place, it is a very, very quiet movie. There's extremely limited dialogue. Like this is probably the least dialogue I've ever seen in a film, outside of maybe like one or two. It's very like claustrophobic in a way.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And because you feel this family, they're, like I said, they're isolated. They're never face to face with other human beings, and so you kind of feel they have this threat around them, and it's kind of closing in. And how they handle that in these different scenarios, and that's what really drives the movie. And there is one major scenario which is hinted at and kind of shown in the trailers, but I'm not going to say it just because I wasn't totally sure if that was what the movie was about. But you know what I'm talking about, and anyone that's seen it knows what I'm talking about, that there's a main thing that the family has to work to make sure goes smoothly.
Yeah.
And that was definitely, I thought that was a really good focal point, although I will say one of my biggest problems with this movie, which I liked the movie, I thought that it was really kind of contrived. And the main thing that I was just talking about was interesting because it is definitely at odds with the whole sound thing. But, you know, this was a situation that presumably they put themselves into. So why would anyone ever put themselves into this situation is beyond me. And also just, like I said, there's that main thread running through, and then there's other little incidents, and some of the incidents were just kind of out of nowhere and kind of weird, and they, like one for example, could have been completely removed from the film, and it would not have affected it whatsoever. And I'm just thinking of one. I'm sure maybe you could think.
Let's just jump in. Should we just do a spoiler review?
Okay, from this point forward, did you like the movie?
Yeah.
I liked it as well. Go see it if you think it looks interesting. I think you'll like it.
But
we're going to get into spoilers.
We're jumping into spoilers because there's like so much stuff to talk about. We don't want to just be like, oh, this one thing.
Because the marketing's been good. It's been pretty secretive. And
so yeah, the $17 million budget from what I saw online, and it's already made over $70 million. So this is a very good, successful film for John Krasinski to start his behind the camera career, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's talking about is they have a baby. And
they sure
instantly I was thinking when they fast forward, because they were, I think...
It starts like 3 months into this thing.
Yeah, 3 months.
And then it cuts to like a year after that. Yeah.
No, it jumps like 400 days, isn't it?
No, that was day 89, and then it's day 400 and something, so it's about a year.
Oh, what the fuck? I was thinking of weeks. I'm such a dumbass. I was like, oh, they jumped forward like 8 years. Holy shit.
And the kids are the exact same. But go ahead.
So I'm a dumbass. So they jumped forward about a year and a half. And I was thinking, like, the second she found out she was pregnant,
she better get a fucking clothes hanger up in that.
because I was thinking, like, the fucking baby's gonna be loud as fuck until it's like 5.
Yeah.
So,
and not just that. Well, yeah, I didn't even think about the aging and all that shit, because they already have these other kids who have caused multiple problems in the movie. I would have taken these kids out right away. I'd be like, I can't fuck with you guys.
So in the trailer, which I had a problem with, I was like, I hope they address this.
You talking about the spaceship?
Yeah, the spaceship, and they're walking, and then
it's worse than the movie.
In the trailer, he has the spaceship, and it goes off, and I'm like, they're having this situation. How the fuck do the parents give them something that has batteries in it?
Right.
They address that, thank God.
They do.
So I applaud them for that, but I was so glad that they didn't take the easy way out and just be like, oh, get the kid, and then let's leave. And then this kid actually got fucking destroyed.
Oh, this kid gets annihilated. And the opening of this movie might be the best part of the whole movie. Except for like the birthing sequence, I think was also really good. But yeah, it's definitely like grabs you, like shakes your ass, like, okay, that kid just got killed. So it makes you think anyone is up for grabs, which is a good thing. But I will say, yeah, just some of the things, the thing I was talking about where they could have completely removed it from the movie and it wouldn't have changed anything, and it was also kind of weird and didn't make all that much sense, was the encounter, and I said no one ever came face to face with another human. I take that back. They're walking through the woods, the dad and the son, later, and they're trying to get back to the house, and they like kind of just randomly, like all of a sudden they're next to this guy, and there's like a dead person on the ground next to him, and he like looks like he basically is ready to just give up, and so he's gonna make noise so the alien will come kill him, and it was just so like random and like to me at least, I was confused as to what was the situation that just happened to where this guy is doing this now, and then. Right after that, John Krasinski takes his kid and runs away, as he does a couple times in this movie. And they hide, and then the guy gets killed, and then they kept going. And then they got back to the house. And I was just like, what?
You thought that was like unnecessary?
I felt, yeah. And there was a couple different things like that where it was just the thing with the spaceship, which I get, and it was kind of like a really good way of, establishing these creatures and the noise and that kind of thing. But they take out the batteries, and then the girl in this movie is actually played by a deaf girl, which I thought was pretty cool.
And her character's a piece of shit.
Her character, god damn it, is not good.
No, I wanted them to sacrifice her for...
This character's not good, dude. And that was like, I was saying, it's contrived in not only these little situations, but like this character, for example, the conflict between her and her parents, which I understood because she did fuck up the thing with the spaceship at the beginning. But I don't know, it felt to me like it just didn't have to make like they didn't have to do it like that. I didn't buy into like them as a family for some reason. And I might be the only one, but it was almost at times I was wondering if these kids were just like orphaned or something, and then John Krasinski and Emily Blunt like found them and like took them in, because they didn't feel like parents to these kids, and the kids didn't feel like kids that they had come from those parents. It was just, I don't know, it was just weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I know it sounds like we're like nitpicking. We're not even nitpicking. We're just straight up pointing out what was wrong with the movie.
Yeah.
But,
overall, though, I thought it was good. It was good.
Yeah, no, it was definitely good.
Yeah.
I think I give them credit for doing a good job with an original idea.
Yeah, smaller original movie.
It is a small budget movie, so it was what it was, and I couldn't tell it was a small budget movie other than the fact that they didn't have like all these huge dramatic set pieces.
Yeah, it was very
So
it kind of reminded me of Super 8 a little bit as well, and just especially with the kids in there. But yeah, it was good. But there were a lot of things that just kind of bothered me, and I was like, meh, nope, whatever. What'd you think about the ending, the resolution of the film, and then also what happens to like the main characters living and dying, that kind of thing?
I didn't like that John's character died.
Right, he sacrifices himself to save his daughter.
I thought it was unnecessary in a way, and I was like, he as far as he knows, there's only the one like alien there at the time. He is really hurt, so I kind of see that happening.
Yeah.
But he had an axe, he had a bunch of other tools he could have used to try to defend himself. If you're gonna go out, why not at least
try to live?
Why not go down swinging? You get one good shot with an axe, maybe you kill the thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, I was talking about after the movie, like I said, and a couple of other things that came up. The sound. The creatures are very sensitive to the sound, and that's how they find people, and that's what how they kill. So if they have really sensitive hearing, wouldn't logically at the end of the movie they figure out like the high frequency, like the sound that like really bothers them and like makes them vulnerable to attacks? Wouldn't that be like extremely obvious from the get-go? Because naturally, if the creature is sensitive to sound, if you hit a certain sound at a certain frequency or volume or something, yeah, I just was just like, there's all these geniuses on the planet, wouldn't someone have been able to figure that out?
Another thing, which I don't mind movies just jumping in.
It's very isolated.
In our last video, we were actually talking about the Han Solo trailer that just came out, and we're like, oh, they didn't need to tell this story of this backstory of Han. Mm-hmm. Sometimes just starting a story in the middle of it, so to speak, is good, and you don't need a backstory.
Yeah.
But with this, I was thinking, these weren't like 20 stories tall animals or aliens or whatever,
right.
And there was only a couple of them in the actual movie. He said there was 3 from his research in his
area.
Yeah, in his area he had 3, so his area could be a square mile. I have no idea.
Yeah,
but it didn't seem like there was a ton of them. I'm thinking these things did like tear people in half like in a split second. But I'm thinking
there's 7 million people.
Not even that, but they didn't look that bad to where our military couldn't defeat them, or the world's governments couldn't get together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there was no evidence that they are aliens really, and because there's no spaceships like crashed or destroyed. There's no alien tech anywhere in the movie.
I'm just saying alien just to name them.
But
whoa, I didn't even think about this. I was thinking, okay, how are these things don't seem that bad? She literally shot it one time with a shotgun. You're telling me our military couldn't fucking do that?
Yeah, you're right. Well, let's talk about. Were there any specific things you really liked about the movie, or thought was really cool or smart or anything like that? Because there's a couple that I was thinking.
I do really disagree about the family aspect. I thought they did a good job with that. I fucking loved when they went to the river and they could kind of talk a little bit.
That was cool.
And then they went to the waterfall and they started screaming into the waterfall.
That was cool.
And I was like, man, I haven't heard that like this whole movie. That's really cool.
And it also, the fact, that reminded me of something. It kind of, it sets that up for later in the movie when Emily Blunt is hiding from the alien and there's all the water. And she like goes under like a little mini waterfall under the stairs to hide her noise and the baby noise a little bit, which was really cool.
I do like how they use sound as a piece of this movie. It was like a character in its own.
Yeah.
And even though the high frequency thing does kind of make sense, I would think that would come into play at some point, beforehand. But either way, I like that. Okay.
There's a couple other really cool things that I thought were smart. One thing was John Krasinski's character, the dad, is trying to come up with like an earpiece for the deaf daughter so that she can hear, and basically it never works. They establish, she's like, no, it never works, I don't want to like use the new one, and he tries. It's like the most recent one he's made, and he's like, just take it anyway, like I'm trying to like help you out. and she, you know, tries using it. Of course, it doesn't work. So, but she keeps it in the whole movie. Now, whenever the alien or monster or whatever comes near her, the thing like freaks out and it gets the alien to go away. And she doesn't realize that that's what it is, because sometimes she doesn't even know the monster is there. But it was cool because the dad made it so she could hear and like it would help her out. But really, it did help her out a lot. But she didn't even realize it, and he maybe didn't even know. And so I just thought that was a cool way of like, and then eventually at the end, of course, they figure out that's, you know, what it is. And then also with the baby, trying to keep it quiet right after it was born. I'm like, how the fuck are they going to do this?
Put it in the box.
And they had this oxygen tank set up in the beginning of the movie, and then later they like go down with the baby and it's starting to cry and stuff, and they start strapping the oxygen to it. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing with that baby? Like, what's that oxygen mask gonna do? And then they put it like in this box and like cover it up. And so what they were doing was keeping it literally in a box to keep the sound down. But the oxygen was obviously making sure it stayed alive and was safe in the box. So that was an interesting like concept.
Even though this does have to do with like almost like, you know, otherworldly like stuff, it was realistic. Like that's how it would actually be if you were, you know, if the world was taken over and you're trying to like hide, you'd probably be on a farm somewhere, like just
no shoes,
with the bare minimum stuff, not really having shoes on, with you know, canned food and stuff like that. This wasn't unrealistic, I feel like.
It was grounded, pretty grounded,
definitely grounded. And I like this, you know, the attention to detail where you know they had all the food set up and they were being quiet. There was a couple of times though in the movie where it was just there was one too many things to lead to another, where they kept like the the battery at the beginning making the toy go off, and then they're knocking over the fucking lantern. Like,
it's just
nail and just
It was just like they should have tightened up the script and had less little incidents and like really focused on the baby. And because if you're gonna make that the plot of the movie, you really just need to go for that, because like, you know, if it's kind of dumb already because of that idea, like no one's gonna have a baby in that circumstance, so just ride with it and really like focus more on the relationships and the characters.
So
but also one other thing, the fireworks were really cool, that whole like little track
I didn't mind that at all. So obviously we both liked it. I mean, it was a good movie overall. Do you think, I know John Krasinski has this Amazon series coming up. Is it Jack Reacher?
Oh yeah.
Actually, I don't know if it's Jack Reacher.
Jack Ryan.
Jack Reacher. That's the fucking Tom Cruise movie. So obviously, I think he has a big career coming up in front of him for movies and TV.
Yeah, he's no longer Jim Halpert.
No, for sure. Definitely not. He's a badass now. He's obviously was in 13 Hours as well a couple years ago. Do you think going forward he's going to be more focused, especially with the success of this? Do you think he's going to be more focused on acting? Or like,
I don't know.
Do you think he has a big career ahead of him?
I mean, he definitely has a huge career ahead of him, regardless of acting or directing or writing.
I think he could do both.
But he's definitely, he has what he's already committed to. But I think, same with Jordan Peele last year, who directed his first movie and had huge success. I think he's going to want to embrace that now. And I'm sure studios are going to be throwing offers at him and scripts and all these other things. And I'm sure he'll find something that he really likes, as he did with this, and he'll just, you know, dive into it. But I'm excited to see what he does next, and hopefully it's not too like, you know.
I think he's the big winner out of this. His wife, obviously, I mean, they were both huge actors before this, but she was more like,
especially.
Yeah, she was big in movies. He obviously was in the legendary Office series. So and there's talks of that coming back. So they're gonna really have to fucking pull out the big checkbook for him if they want him to become part of that.
Right.
So overall, I mean, it was a really good film. It was original. I would definitely check it out. I recommend it.
It was good. I recommend it as well. The hype might be a little too much. It might be a little too overhyped for me.
Yeah.
But I would say it was a 7 out of 10.
Thank you guys for watching. Let us know what your biggest movies. We have Avengers coming out in just a few weeks.
Really excited for that.
Please let us know what you think, if you've seen the movie already or if you plan on seeing it. Thank you guys for watching.